When I had acne, there were 5 main traditional cures that I tried to clear my acne naturally that I remember the most, and none of them worked. So I wanted to share those 5 with you today, plus the acne treatments I think you should do instead of these commonly prescribed acne solutions. Hi there, I'm Therese, and I've made it my life's work to get you clear skin without harsh chemicals, pills, and/or creams because I cleared my acne naturally after 15 years of struggling with it. 15. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new one. In my opinion, the 5 treatments that I'm about to share all had a fatal flaw in them. And that fatal flaw was that they only addressed the bacteria aspect of acne. We're going to go into this more, but before we do, you need to know there are 4 parts to a breakout, okay? There are 4 conditions at the pore that make you break out. Number 1, you have too many skin cells at your pore. Number 2, you have too much sebum at the pore. Number 3, your skin cells aren't sloughing off the way they should, so you don't have a normal amount of skin cell turnover. And number 4, we all have bacteria on our faces. All of the treatments I'm about to mention, the biggest issue, was that they only addressed number 4. Bacteria on our faces. We all have bacteria all over our faces, bodies, skin, hair, nails, eyelashes, all the things, all the time. So it's kind of wild to me that that's how it has been addressed. It's not effective long term. Anywho, the first treatment that I tried that really got me was doxycycline. Type yes below if you also took a longer term course of doxycycline or a minocycline. Doxycycline kills bacteria that causes acne. It belongs to a class of antibiotics known as tetracyclines. I remember when I first started taking doxycycline, again orally, it was like my skin was so much better quickly. But then you're on a long-term antibiotic for how long? And over time, I remember I would go into the dermatologist's office. I think I used it probably 2 to 3 times over a course of like 5 to 7 years, where I would use it for 3 to 6 months. It would work really well. And then I'd go into the dermatologist and they'd say, okay, well, you can't use this anymore because you can't use it long-term like this. I would stop and then my acne would immediately come back. One of the reasons doctors take you off of antibiotics like that is because bacteria can develop resistance. You have bacterial resistance to the antibiotics, which is not good really ever. God forbid, right? We have this horrible superbug that comes in that's really resistant to all of our antibiotics. You don't want that. So things like doxycycline and minocycline are really short-term Band-Aids. I said it. Next up was the famous benzoyl peroxide. So think Proactive or any type of Clean and Clear, Neutrogena, any type of skincare product on the shelf in Duane Reade, CVS, Walgreens, Target, you name it, I tried it. Benzoyl peroxide does the same thing as doxycycline, but it does it on the surface of your skin. It kills the P. acnes bacteria. And here's the thing. Type yes below if you had this experience wherein you used a new product. I remember Proactive would come out with like their new set of topicals and I would freak out. I would get so excited and I would go to buy it and I would use it for 3 to 6 months and it would be amazing and then it would stop working. Does that sound familiar? The reason is because the bacteria became resistant to the benzoyl peroxide. So the antibiotic essentially stopped working. And I remember when this would happen, this must have happened, I had acne for 15 years, so I would say it happened at least 8 times where I would find a topical routine, a clindamycin, for example, or benzoyl peroxide that I was over the moon with because it finally worked, and then within 3 to 6 months it would stop. Next up, this always makes me laugh, tea tree oil. The reason I laugh is because I am a very spirited woman, and if there is something that I don't like, you will know. And my poor mom, she brought me home tea tree oil because she was on the right track. I will give her credit. She was always on the right track around what was potentially causing like the root issues for the acne. But tea tree oil is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and she would bring home these little like tubes. They would be like these roller balls of tea tree oil, right? Oh, y'all, the smell. I really couldn't take the smell. I couldn't take it. But you know how you do that thing in the morning, right? When you're asleep and you wake up and the first thing you do is like feel your skin everywhere for the acne? Type yes below if that's you. I would do that. And every morning there was more acne everywhere, right? And I would freak out. And I remember I would immediately go into the bathroom. I wouldn't wash my face. I wouldn't brush my teeth. I wouldn't go to the bathroom. I wouldn't eat breakfast. I wouldn't take a shower. I would just go into the bathroom, freak out about what I saw on my face. And I would like rub tea tree oil all over it, gag for like 5 minutes, and then go try to eat my breakfast, which was, for the record, usually a bagel or just cereal. Next comes a product that I liked, but also stopped working, and that was Retin A. Retin A is a tretinoin cream. It's a form of vitamin A. And so when you use Retin A, it encourages skin cell turnover, which isn't a bad thing. Like I mentioned, remember that third step wherein you're having your skin cells aren't sloughing off the top layer of your skin the way they should. So that's contributing to acne. Retin A definitely addresses that. And if you've ever been on something like Retin A, you'll know that you purge, right? For the first 4 to 6 weeks of using Retin A, your skin gets way worse before it gets better. I think I used Retin A and Retin A Micro maybe for a year at a time at various points. And that initial purging period was miserable, but then it would stop and my skin would be beautiful. And then it would stop working. Because again, those other conditions at the pore, I had too many skin cells and I had too much oil were still present, plus the P. acnes. So once the skin cells had sloughed off and like my skin kind of got used to the Retin A, those other two conditions were still present at the pore, I'm sure, and my acne would come back. Differin gel was another topical treatment that I used often, again, on and off over the years. And it's adapalene, right? So it's a little bit gentler than the Retin A or the Retin A Micro. And I remember, again, it would work for a little bit by addressing that skin cell turnover issue, but the other conditions were still present. So again, usually Differin and Retin A would work for longer periods of time for me than like benzoyl peroxide. And they would have, like, I could stop Differin and my skin would still be clear for like another 2 months. But then usually after about 8 weeks of not using it, my skin would just revert right back. So all of these things, what didn't I try? I didn't try light treatments and I didn't try Accutane. I remember the doctor showed me, I actually had a prescription for Accutane. And I remember the doctor showed me the bottle, which had a baby with a skull over it. And they told me that I was required to take the birth control pill. This was like literally 20 years ago. But I was required to take the birth control pill and I couldn't get pregnant. And if I did, like the baby would have defects, all these things. Accutane, I couldn't handle it. The thought of it really scared me. So my skin is obviously clear, and I told you at the beginning of this video that I cleared it naturally. What do I think you could explore instead of the items I just mentioned before? Number one, you have to look at those 3 conditions at the pore to really begin to heal your acne naturally. I actually think that trying to kill the bacteria on your face is just like an ever-present losing game. Sure, you can kill it once or twice, but bacteria, fungus, yeast, all those things, like they're just part of our life. So I actually think that addressing skin cell turnover, too much oil at the pore, and too many skin cells are the key. So number one, why do you have too many skin cells at your pore? I have a bunch of videos about this, but really quickly, I have found it very closely linked to blood sugar management issues. When you have chronic spikes and falls of your glucose, high spikes and falls of glucose levels, you have chronically higher levels of insulin, which means chronically higher levels of insulin growth factor 1, which means more skin cells at the pore. Insulin growth factor 1 is a mitogen, so it encourages skin cell growth. And I have found that when you go on a lower glycemic diet, so many of your acne issues can be improved dramatically. And that links back to that first condition. The second condition that I think is super important that impacts your skin so much is the oil. Why do you have so much oil at the pore? Normal amounts of oil are great. They keep your skin healthy and supple and young and fresh and all that. But too much oil signifies a problem. Usually people come to me when they're dealing with too much oil at the pore because they have hormonal imbalances. So they have too much estrogen, too much testosterone. So they're high in androgens. Maybe they're low in progesterone. So the oil levels at the pore are really off. And this kind of links to the third condition at the pore, skin cells aren't sloughing off the way they should. They don't have the right skincare routine to support a healthy environment. I remember when I had acne. You can comment if this is you. I bet this is you. When I had acne breakouts, I wanted to literally suck the moisture out of my skin. Does that sound like you? Does that sound like you? I remember I would like dry, I would apply every toner, every salicylic acid, every benzoyl. I would just like, oh, like starve my skin of moisture. And that makes things worse. And that is gonna not only probably increase the amount of oil because your skin freaks out, it's too dry, it gets all these signals that, oh wait, we need to send more oil. But number two, your skin cells aren't gonna slough off. And number three, bacteria is gonna get into more of those like tiny little broken, like micro tears in your skin and make more acne. So I found from an oil level and a skin cell turnover perspective, it's actually really important that you use a really gentle quality moisturizer. I love the CVS brand of moisturizer with hyaluronic acid, and making sure you're using that every day so that your skin knows it's covered from a moisture perspective and you aren't having these kind of big influxes of oil. Another action step that you could take instead of something like doxycycline is to take a probiotic. Now, a probiotic and doxycycline are kind of completely different. However, when you're dealing with hormonal acne or blood sugar management issues, you are most likely dealing with some type of kind of intestinal permeability. If you've taken the birth control pill for a long period of time, if you've taken doxycycline for a long period of time, your microbiome is probably a little messed up, and you aren't able to absorb nutrients that you need. People who have been on the hormonal birth control pill for long periods of time have shown really specific vitamin deficiencies that lead to acne. By taking a probiotic, you're naturally going to be adding in healthy, good bacteria to your gut, which is going to improve the overall diversity of bacteria in your gut, which will allow you to heal the lining, and then you can better absorb nutrients, vitamins and minerals from your foods so that you can contribute to clearer skin over time. So how many of those treatments did you try? I bet you've tried all 5 if you're here watching. And that being said, are you at kind of the end of your rope when it comes to acne clearing? Have you been Googling like crazy and you're like, I am gonna lose it? And or have you been to the dermatologist 10 plus times and you feel like all they do is shove medicine at you without even really knowing your name? And you'd really like to finally understand your root acne triggers, get control of your skin, and put a plan in place to heal your acne naturally. I have a natural acne clearing program called the Clear Code, and I would love to see if it's a good fit for you. You can apply to that program via the link below. It'll help you define your root acne triggers. We get really clear on what steps we need to take to clear your skin. And then we monitor your progress week over week really, really meticulously to make sure you're progressing through the program the way we would like. So make sure you click the link below to discover if that's a good fit for you. Also, if you want to join a safe, private, and empathetic community of people struggling with their acne just like you, we have a private Facebook group where you can meet other people dealing with skin challenges. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to be notified when I post a new one. And if you have a friend, mother, brother, sister, partner, anyone in the world who deals with acne issues, and you know they've been searching for a video like this, please send this to them. I would love to be kind of the spark that lights some ideas in their brain about what's possible for them and their skin. Okay? Talk to you next time.